This is a lesson in the Ceramic Center for first grade on how to make a clay owl. You can see here that I've got two examples of the clay owls which have been bisque fired and glazed and fired again. And to start off, I'm going to need a piece of clay, a scoring tool, and I've got a popsicle stick here. I'm going to start with the piece of clay and make sure that I form it into a ball. So to do that, I'm going to push it and squish it, and I kind of like to take like a magic hand and roll it around in a circle at the same time. So I'm going to quickly be doing that, pushing my clay, rolling it into a ball. Once I have a perfect ball, I want to set that down on my tray and not touch it until I'm ready for the next step so that my clay doesn't get dry and crack. When I'm ready for the next step is to make a patty. But I don't want to do the patty on my blue tray because if I do it on my blue tray, it could get stuck down to it. So I'm going to do it in my hand very gently. So I'll pick up my ball, and with my top hand, I'm going to give the ball 3 hard smacks. Then I'm going to turn it over in my hand like this, and I'm going to take my other hand and I'm going to give it another 3 hard smacks. And I'm going to keep on turning it in my hands and smacking it until it's a good thickness. You can see right here, this is a little bit thicker than it should be. I want it to be like a good thickness of a pancake. So if it's really thin, that cookie or pancake would be too crunchy. And so I want it to be a good thickness. So I'm going to keep going just a little bit longer. And I put down my patty. That looks like about a good width around. And I'm going to set that down right now. Now that I have my patty kind of in a nice thickness, it's not too thin and floppy and it's not super thick in the middle. It's pretty even all the way across. I'm going to start with the owl's head. To do that, I'm going to take the top of my clay and I'm going to, not even about halfway, but just about the top part of it, I'm going to really gently bend that clay down and press it down towards the middle. So all I did here was just kind of put my thumbs here, create a little crease, and then bend the top to make the owl's head over just like that. The next step is to pinch a nose. So I'm going to be using my fingers in a pinching motion like this, pinching them together as I'm pinching the clay. So right down here in the middle of the clay, I'm going to place my hands. I'm placing this just to secure it so it doesn't move. And now I'm going to pinch with these fingers, and it's going to start to create a beak. So I pinched. Now I'm going to use this finger and press down. And then I do a pinch and a press down and pinch and press down until I really like the shape of the nose that I've gotten. And I can even use my finger to like smooth the beak in places that it's a little bit rough. And once I have the beak the way I like it, I can stop smoothing it. And I could use this scoring stick if I wanted to make like 2 little lines right there in the beak. The next step in making my clay owl is to add the eyes. I'm going to use a marker cap to press down in the clay to make the eyes. I'm going to press gently because I don't want to go all the way through my owl. So I'm just pressing just gently down into it a little ways and lifting up. Going over to the other side, pressing gently down in there to lift it up. And then I've got the 2 eyes. Now if I'd like to, I could use the end of the scoring stick to add another circle in the inside of that one. And I can even use the pointed side of the scoring stick to add a teeny tiny little pupil, if I'd like, inside of the owl's eye. Now if I want this to hang onto a wall, I'm going to add a hole right kind of up near the top of the head, right in the middle of the eyes. So I take the pointed part of the scoring tool and gently wiggle it all the way through. You can see it coming out the back side. And now that it's coming out the back side, I know that when clay comes out of the kiln, it's hard. And if I left it like this would be sharp. And I don't want anyone to get hurt with my art. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to smooth down the clay on the back of that hole that I've just made. If you do not want it to hang, you don't need to be putting a hole there then. The last thing I'm going to do to add to my owl is texture. So I'm going to make a curved line right here for one wing, and I'm going to make a curved line over here for another wing. You can make your texture in 2 ways. You could use your scoring stick and this rounded end and press and lift into the clay like this. Or I could use the popsicle stick and press and lift into the clay like this. Both things give the same kind of textured feather effect, just a little bit different of a shape as they press into your clay. The very last step is to mark the back with, the first thing is your teacher's name. So up in the corner, I'm going to have everybody put a 1R, because this is first grade Rosendahl. So I'm going to very clearly print a 1R. And then in the other corner, I'm going to put either my name or my initials. So if my name is Britton Chamberlain, I'm going to put a B and a C. And as soon as you're done doing that, check with your neighbor to make sure that they can clearly read the 1R and your name or your initials. It is very important when your clay goes into a kiln with a lot of other boys and girls work. It's very important that you have clearly labeled your own work. Now that I've got my name on the back and my teacher's name and grade, I am ready to let my clay owl dry. It'll dry for about a week, and then it'll be bisque fired, and we will go ahead and add some color with glaze to it the next time that you have art. This is a lesson on Clay Center, how to make a clay owl for first grade students.